Hey, back with another enchanted item run, and we've gotten some options I really like. I don't even mind Fiery Crab because it's a friend, burns, it fits into that type of build. Eventually I like going with Depth Charge with Crab, so it's, fine to have burn, although it does throw off some stuff, but it makes use of some skills. Shielded Jellyfish I've gone a lot, and this does help you just get through the early game, and as a friend. Silencer, I also love. The burn isn't, the number is so low, it doesn't do much. However, it's useful for triggers, right? That's the point of these type of things usually, unless you can buff them quite a bit. I think we'll take Jellyfish. I do love Silencer. Jellyfish or Silencer, I think, are my two main picks, right? Jellyfish helps us get through the early game, which I think is important. Silencer is like, in any given game, I'm usually going to play a Silencer as the thing. I wonder if it's best just to like force the Silencer. Because I am going to go Silencer at some point, and having one might be useful. I mean, Jellyfish does allow us to win fights. I'm going to go... Usually I'd pick Jellyfish. I'm going to go Silencer this game because I've just thought that Silencer builds are so strong, and we'll take a Cutlass. Easy peasy, and we'll take a friend as well. Although, is it better to play the friend or not? 10% more damage on this. This is dealing 40 every 6 seconds, right? 40 every 6 seconds. And this deals 10 every 4, so that's 2.5. 40 every 6 is 16, so 10%. 2.5, so that's like 1.5. So I think this is better to have this in. I guess I didn't account for the burn. It's unclear. So I've actually not been loving Ling too much as an early weapon. It just doesn't take advantage of a lot of the things. A lot of like skills, like even Silencer, right? The added damage doesn't do much. So I think I'll go Viper instead, hoping to get Toxic Fang, which, really takes advantage of Silencer because the extra damage is obviously great. Lash Out is also, I think, pretty good. I always talk about how good regen is. 3 poison is basically like, 3 anti-regen. And if we happen to get one of the other things, Fang is fine. Fang is better than Piranha. Probably. The double damage plus the crit probably evens it out. We get Lash Out, which is great. It's just like pure value here, right? You only have so much space on the board, so getting non-board assets does make it way more likely you're going to win the fight. We can upgrade an item. So, I think I'm going to upgrade Silencer, right? Because upgrading Silencer gives this 10 damage. Upgrading the Cutlass gives 10 damage to itself. And if we happen to face a Tempest Fire Dancer, it gives you bronze fiery cutlasses, and we'd rather have our cutlass able to combine with that anyway. So I think Silencer is just the right answer, but that's also just like an additional thing. So if we get to day 3 still using the cutlass, we can get the combine, get the extra 10 damage anyways. So I've sort of been going income more often because having more money is nice. This gives you, probably about 10 gold over the course of the game, although it is parceled out, so you don't get it when you want. I think it's unlikely we find a silver Silencer, which is what we'd be looking for. And we don't really have anything else to put in. So I think I'm just taking regen. I do love the regen early. I think it just wins you a ton of fights. And hopefully here's a fight that can help us win. We're expecting them to have 300 health. We're dealing, what is it? Is it 30 per shot? So 60. So we need 5 shots off. We're doing like 5 DPS. So they do have some shielding. They have some healing. So the math isn't quite working out. Do we have crits? It looks like we just crit there. Oh, this one crit. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it looks like they're going to beat us up because we don't actually get through their shielding and healing. So we're going to take a loss to start out. Yeah, they can just stack some burn. It's like this is like not a huge amount of burn, but if we do 0 damage, we're not getting through anything. Yeah, we just don't have any crit chance, which, Cutlass obviously really scales off of. And yeah, burn stacking, if you can get burned over that threshold early, it is very strong. We don't have much money. I was just talking about how we don't necessarily want to upgrade the Cutlass, but we are in a situation where Maybe it's what we want to do. It does give us an extra 10 damage. Or we can take a small aquatic item for some gold. I think we maybe do upgrade the cutlass, and we just say that if we happen to find the other one, it's like a sort of a minor setback at that point. Looking for right or left-handed most of the time. Could take burn, could take crit. I think I'm going to dig, see if I can find one, and we do. This is just a huge DPS upgrade, for our cutlass, so I think we take it. Do we want to go looking for silencer in particular? I don't know. We could look for a weapon. I think we just take more regen, a little bit more health. I think we're still at the point where the regen is very, very effective. And we're doing 20 DPS. They heal for about 8. We have some good regen. I think we can beat Scrapper. I got this wrong yesterday, and I actually had a round where I lost the Scrapper. It was on 3 HP, which is obviously really, really bad to lose. Because, your whole game, you're set all behind for like your entire early and mid game. And, I always stress the importance of early and mid game. So that's obviously not where you want to be. It looks like we're fine here. The regen, this does less than 10 DPS, right? It does about 6, and this does 4. So even adding them together, 10 regen basically regens all the damage. And I don't think they can out-heal us. And it looks like we just get this kill. Yep. Perfect. We're not particularly fast. This isn't a particularly strong board. It's also missing half a board, obviously. We could put the narwhal in now. I don't know why I didn't. Probably just got distracted by butterflies. We could take something to boost our stats. I don't know that that's good. I don't know that we're looking for any weapons that we can find here. I think it's too early to find the ones we would replace Cutlass with. Katana is maybe a little better because we have no crit, but I think what we'll do is just take the freebies here. Because I don't think we need... They're getting the 10. I don't think it's going to be especially helpful, and it costs some money. We can cash these 2 in. And we'll cash this. We'll keep the shield ones because, there's no reason to sell them yet. Regen or aquatic. Obviously, aquatic can have a crow's nest. We can also have a shark claws, which are strong at this point in the game. And we take the amber geese for the... what do you call it? The econ. Sorry, I'm losing my words today. We get the shark claws. We didn't get an opportunity because we do have a friend that we've been holding. I don't think we saw the furry monster one. So we don't get to level 3, which is unfortunate. It looks like they're at level 2 as well, so at least we're not at a disadvantage, but obviously we'd love to be at an advantage. And they, again, have some burn. Did they get overheal from regen? I don't think so, because I don't think regen ticks poison. Otherwise, it'd probably be a little bit too strong against poison. And I think we get there pretty easily. Shock claws, again, with silencer, you don't need to go single weapon early if, it means you can't fill up. If we had non-weapons to put in, we'd maybe lean towards that. But if you don't, just throw shock claws in, let it buff some damage. It'll be fine. Let's take a loot item. Again, more shielding. Hopefully we find something to shield later on. Maybe like a sub. If we ever find a sub, that'd be fun. 60 max HP or non-weapons. We don't have a ton of money, but we do have some. I think a star shot would be great. Ooh. Here's part of a... We can imagine going part of a haste build. I think this is going to be... The pufferfish is going to be too expensive. I will take a catfish and a seaweed, because with the ambergeese, they are effectively free. So we can take them and decide if we want to play into them. And then we get silencer and cutlass. Sorry, silencer and sextant. Is there any way we can sell enough stuff? We can sell this... When you sell $4 worth, we'll sell these things. So if we get a shield thing, we just missed out on some buffs. But we'll throw the sextant here. It does say adjacent items. I wonder if it's ever better to go like this, maybe? Adjacent items have 15% crit. No, I think the damage is better, right, on the cutlass. And we'll just lose 15% crit on... The crit is most important on the thing that benefits from extra crit the most. And we don't have any money, so we won't go Curio, we won't go Gumballs. I don't even like Gumballs. If you have money, we'll take the invest in yourself. It gives us some gold over the course of the game. Scout Trooper can be tough to beat, just if we don't have a lot of any defense, and I don't think we have even the ability. I guess, I don't know if Seaweed, we could put in this basically whole aquatic package instead of maybe like Silencer and Sexton. I don't know if this actually keeps us alive enough, and we do want the extra XP. I think maybe we just take the Fire Dancer here, although Fiery Cutlass is like sort of a step down because we got the upgrade. It's just going to do 10 less damage. It does, obviously, it is fiery. And then Scout Trooper. I've gotten burned too many times, although we'll get burned here, not winning that fight, that I think maybe we just need to take a fight we can definitely win. Scout Trooper is just one that has high, like the whole trick of that fight is it has the high DPS. Oh, yeah, when we get a crit, I mean, crits on this are very strong. Cutlass is not super strong until you get the crits. Okay, we don't get the fiery version. Oh, but we can take an extra fight. So we're not going to take Study, obviously, because taking the Mountain Pass. If we take Guide the Convoy, I believe we still level, guaranteed, which is very good. Not that we can take huge advantage of it because we don't have a great board slots. I think I'm going to go for the more high-risk play and try to fight somebody. And we did get the Apprentice, who I believe we can beat because I think we, two-shot them. They are sometimes a little tough because their lightning can do a lot of damage. I think, did they used to have 2 lightnings? It used to be like 60 damage, but without the crit. It seems like this does a little less damage now than it used to. I don't know what changes they did make. Reload 2 items. Does reload mean you get 1 more ammo, or is it full ammo? Upgrading the Shot Claws, I think, is pretty good here. But it's only so good. I think maybe we just take... We're probably going to transition off of this eventually. Yeah, so I think eventually getting... If you get right and left-handed, you end up in a situation where when you go to single weapon, it takes both, and it's just more powerful. What do we want next to... Do we care what crits? We want a non... I guess it doesn't matter where we put the weapon, right? As long as it's in the middle. That doesn't actually help us because we're not giving... Oh, we actually don't care if we give this crit, right? I think I've been confused. It's sort of like playing this like it's a start shot, which it isn't. So I think we go back to the way we had it. And I think maybe it's better to buff the Piranha because it's not like this doesn't give you more damage based on its damage. That would be very strong. It would also stack itself. Let's go here and look for a skill, see if we can get something relevant. More shield stuff. We don't have any shielding. I think we'll maybe skip this because we do sort of like how our upgrades would look if we found a Grandmaster. Yeah, I don't know if that's right. We do have 4 aquatic items, so we're not in a terrible spot. I ended up... confusing myself out of... The point of moving something to the left was to just give it the extra crit chance. So I could have moved either of these 2 non-weapons at basically no cost, and I should have. So I don't know why I didn't. I mean, I didn't because I got confused. I was talking too much about God knows what. Looks like we're gonna get beat here though, right? By just shield stacking and poisoning. Yeah, if you can get, all it takes is like a catfish to, do damage in the early game at least. So if you just go very defensive, like this person managed to a ton of shield, and Seashell is a pretty good early shield item. It just shields for a lot. It doesn't scale really, so it's just something that goes wide. And I guess we look for some non-weapons, see if we can assemble this build. And here is sort of the start of it. We can sell our little claws. And then we can roll, we can look for a star shot, we can look for a silencer. Don't find that, but we swap out our weapons. And this ends up being pretty powerful. Let's put this here. 55 crit is pretty important on, Cutlass is just really crit focused. We won't take Relax. I guess we keep looking for silencer. I don't even know if we can find gold silencers at this point. and we can't afford to roll. We have no money, so I guess going for the shot may be a mistake. Maybe we could have converted something into something else. I think we can win this fight with... We can win the Prince fight because we have lifesteal. Usually this fight can get pretty difficult, but we don't have that many. It's, the more castable things you have. If you have like 10 items that active, I call them like castable sometimes, I don't know why. This can get pretty tough because this will ramp because of the slow and steady and the slow targets. But I think with just 3 things that are casting, yeah, we took them down pretty easily. We just healed up all that. They don't actually have a ton of DPS output early, and if you can prevent them from scaling... Ooh, Eels. We could go into Eels. If we can get an upgrade, I think we might go into Eels. When you use a vehicle, when you crit, your weapons gain 5. Oh, or 16% is very appealing. But I think some scaling is actually nice, because neither of the 2 items we're talking about have built-in scaling. Usually I'd love to have a start shot to be able to go for the docks. Of course we don't. Do we have a lot of bronze items to sell? We have at least a few. So let's just check this out, see if we can cash in some money. Although, so here's the thing. We go here and we cash in, what, an extra like 4 gold. We could even do like 5, 6. Okay, we'll cash in like 6 gold and we'll just go down a slot. We don't like, they weren't doing anything. We're not going to roll. It's not clear that like just going to the docks, getting something, isn't going to put you roughly the same gold. Let's see if there's some new skills we can get. Oh, I don't really love any of these. Only fall below half health, haste 2 items. I think I'm just going to skip here. I don't think any of these are worth the 10 gold. If we had infinity gold, or just like a larger amount of gold, maybe. But since we're so stuck on gold, I think just like, it's because they're not something that's going to make or break our build. Okay, so the thing about these type of builds is it's always going to come down to like, I think, eventually we win, because we just have so much lifesteal, but the problem is you can die to a volley in between. So if their attack speed is like right here, right? So I don't know what the second thing that hit us there was, or maybe they crit, but had we been attacking, like you can just die, you can only get so much health, so the volleys, if they don't time out, will just kill you, and that's what ended up happening. So we also on the back foot. We've only taken 1 win in 4 days. Nothing good so far. Okay, so do we want Cutlass still, or do we want Ship? Did I sell off all my... I mean, I think Submersible is better here. Submersible is really good. Attacks really fast. Ship is nice, however, we have a tool, we don't have anything else. We have a tool and a property, so this is a 3. Unfortunately, Silencer is nothing, although Silencer is so busted that I think it's fine. And anything that crits is, or anything that has multi-attack, like the Cutlass, is getting a lot of bonus out of this. I do love Submersible recently, and it is cheaper. I wish I hadn't sold all those shield buffs. And we do already have the Eels, so it's not like that we need another weapon. I didn't take the vehicle one either. I'm just trying to think. I guess... Oh, I mean, I think we could go with either of these 3. These obviously cost gold, whereas this one we already have. And we also have... We could go with either of these 4, really. I guess Flagship I like the best. It's the most fun, right? So go here, get 3. We'll grab a friend, make it 4. And we'll be, hopefully good to go. It's doing 120 damage. That's pretty high. I guess we go here and get a tool. Oh, we have a tool. Get a shield item and hope it's a friend shield. Is that the thing? Oh no, unfortunately Pearl isn't a friend. It's one of the fish things that's not a friend. Can we beat Scoville? We have to beat him, I would say 11 seconds. I think we have a decent chance of beating him in 11 seconds. And we have a good amount to heal for afterwards. So we're going to attack for 330. However, we have 55% crit chance. So it's about 500. We'll do that twice. And we do buff a little bit. And then we do heal. So we might be able to get a 3rd attack off. Although maybe not, it looks like. Yeah, we're like half a second short. That was pretty bad. Um, I think like I don't know how many crits we got off, but I think if we had gotten like maybe one more crit, we get the haste from this and maybe gets there. But yeah, I mean you really can't be taking losses like that. Let's see if there's any good curio items. We get a couple that we can use at least to buff us a little bit. Let's just use, yeah, let's use both actually. It's fine if we end up need to double back. Oh, and are there any friends here? I think sometimes the poison buff thing, like this, I think it's called like a spider. Let's take 6 gold. We're really broke. Is actually a friend, so you can get you can slot that in here. And let's take pearls. We don't want to dig too deep, obviously, but I think we can look until we find something that's going to improve our build. Unfortunately, it's none of these. Could maybe take like 2 more rolls before we're really broke. Oh, this is an ammo item, so ammo item also improves. I've never gone at a total with single item, like with, you know, this type of setup. Is this really good? So you need to get this to 200. So this gives 30, and this gives, I think it would be at 100 now, which is pretty bad. So you do need some buffs. Huh. This is interesting. The extent to which this is worth going. It attacks really fast. Attacks every 1 second. I guess this gives it further cooldown reduction. Although this would give us an entire extra shot. We also have a ton of weapons already. I'll grab it. I don't know. It just seems interesting. Let's try to do something interesting once in a while. And what does this look like now? I think it's worse now, because it's a 4-second cooldown. However, I think if we can buff it just a little bit, like if we get one more silencer upgrade and we get maybe, you know, another buff on our items, maybe we can start getting there. We're probably going to lose this fight. Does this mean we're going to get egged? No, we could lose this fight and the next fight, actually. So, let's hope not, but... And this is actually kind of similar to the Scoville, although they are a little faster, probably, which is bad for us, because we lost that one. Are we going to get there in time this time? Yes, we do. We actually got the second shot. I think in Scoville we needed a 3rd shot, but here we got the 2nd shot off. So it's nice to sort of steal one. You know, when it seems like we made it. I mean, it is. So this is like a mistake I think a lot of people make, including me right this moment, is that we are going pretty heavily. Like, we're trying to go single weapon, but we have 4 different weapons that we could use and that we're willing to use. Then, you know, I think the ship is our best one right now. And, you know, but we could have stuck with Cutlass and done most of this game similar. There's actually nothing here for us, so I think we'll just take this, which apparently sells for 4 gold. We still can't find any... we still don't have a start shot. I don't think we need any more weapons. I guess we could take upgrades. We'll find a sniper rifle and then pivot. Yep, I did find a sniper rifle that I might want to pivot for. I'm going to buy that because I'm a sniper rifle fiend. Ooh, I do love Submarine Primordial. I don't think it fits in any build we have yet. Okay. My thinking is, if we were able to get the Adano up really high, Submarine Primordial could, but it'd be like a double weapon build, because every time this shoots, it does trigger a burn. So it would charge this by 1 second. The problem is, you know, it's just too much board space. And if you're shooting every second with a burn item, you should just be winning the fight with that, right? Like, you probably don't need... Like, you don't need to win the fight 6 different ways. You need to win the fight exactly one way. So we're looking for ammo items. We're looking for friends. And we're looking for... We have property. We have tools. So ammo and friends. Are there any ammo friends? I don't actually know. I guess mantis shrimp. I don't know if there's any ammo friends that aren't weapons, I guess is the question. We have a little bit of scaling, but their regen can get kind of scary. We do have enough healing that the poison they're stacking isn't like a huge issue until it gets really, really high. Although it does give them extra heal. We do eventually overwhelm their regen. Their regen can get tricky if you don't have any scaling and if you're sort of a little slower. So this is a fight you need to watch out for. We get more poison. Buffs. What are we upgrading? Silver or lower? I mean, our best upgrade maybe is like Eels. Or Sniper. Like, are these better? Because I don't think upgrading ship, I guess, gives 25 damage, but upgrading Eels and Sniper pretty much change them fundamentally. I guess it depends which one you're going to continue using. I'm not as worried about the damage, although maybe I should be. If we want to have the option of going either of these two. Unfortunately, Sniper Rifle doesn't work well with... I'm going to go towards the Eels, I think, and maybe swap in the Eels. I'm not sure if this is the right answer. We can take the relax, just try to win the fight. And, okay, Buckhoon. So we're going to look at some items. Hopefully we find something that helps us win this fight. This does give us additional crit, which is obviously good. We can't afford the wanted poster. I always say, like, you could go damn with the electric eels. I mean, I don't know if we can afford it at this point because we just did some wackiness. I guess we can, like, probably barely afford it if we sell everything. We could go damn, and that means every time they... every time we use an aquatic item, which is the eels, it will charge this up. Eventually, it'll kill everything except the eels, and then maybe the eels can carry us through. The problem with that, of course, is that eels, you know, obviously using the lifesteal at that point. Although I guess you could put it in just for these two items. The problem is, at that point, the eels doesn't do attack very fast because they're not triggering any items. It's not good against any, what do you call it? You know what? I'm going to try it. I don't know that it's good here, but I could see it being good eventually. It's probably better just to get the wanted poster and be normal. But I'm not about that life. And do we want to roll to see if... I don't think we can afford the eels if we found it, so let's not try that. See, like, what does this look like? How many times does it have to go off? So what this is good against, I guess, is... Unfortunately, this might be good against the things you're already good against, right? Like, it doesn't help you to be really, really good against weapons that attack. I think what it could be good against is, like, certain dually boards. Like, it does kill their entire board if it goes off. But it's possible that just, like, by the time they go off, we are, like, by the time the damn one goes off, we're either, like, the fight's already kind of decided, or just completely decided, right? Although it ended up being closer because they got did they get the crit off on the Lang? So it's unclear if the dam, I mean, the dam didn't do anything there. It's unclear if the dam, like, you know, was close to doing anything, I guess is the question. But it seems interesting, at least, you know? If we find, I don't think if we find the eels, we can even afford it. And we're sort of all in on eels, so let's just take some money and hope that we can get somewhere. We're still looking for buffs here. I don't think we need any pearls. Although pearls... Ooh, finding this is interesting. In terms of our non-dam building. I think we do have to go back for that. And we'll just put that in. I think this is generally better. Like, this is generally a stronger build than what we were just doing. Can we beat the Radiant Corsair? You know, Radiant Corsair is actually kind of slow. And doesn't stack on you too much, but it does have the katana, which goes off a lot. I think the dam might actually beat that, because it will trigger our eels a bunch of times, but without stacking a ton of burn until this goes off. And then once it goes off, all they'll have is the lighthouse. Unfortunately, our eels got hit with the spyglass because we only had one active, so that was the downside, I guess. And then after this dies, do we just have sort of... I guess we lose our silencer, but Does the Eels outpace? The problem might be we go to the smoke, right? We're gonna lose in the smoke, right? Oh, this was dumb. Why did I do this? Yeah, we just can't even win in the smoke. I think we would win if, like, on like an infinite time scale. Maybe they still stack, but okay, this was dumb. I don't know. I'm just really trying to make the dam work. The fact that the spyglass hits the Eels and gives it another 60% cooldown is really tough. Maybe there's a fight we can win here. Yeah, I think we can beat the Viper. Oh, I guess we're probably better off again just swapping, putting in normal items. I keep trying to make dam work. It's like, it seems fun, right? It's an item. I don't know, it's cool when it goes off. The problem is just always when it goes off that you could just do other stuff. That's the problem with a lot of cool things in games. It's like they don't want to make them overpowered. They don't want to make the dam go off super quick and devastate everyone's board. So they sort of make it so it's a little bit slow. But when it goes off, it has a big effect. But it's just the ways you need to get the big effect off. Sometimes it's just like, once you're doing all that work, you could basically just do anything. I always look for gold skills. Maybe there's a way to charge some of this stuff faster. When you crit, your burn items gain. When you slow haste a vehicle, these aren't vehicles, right? So yeah, when we crit, our burn goes up. We can maybe go for that. We should crit a lot. And I don't think we want to reroll. We're so broke, so we'll just take something that does something. And I guess we're looking for silencer upgrades. We could take, I think taking both of these ends up being econ. We could just have taken the power up, help us win today. But we're doing this other thing. This is worse than the Sexton, I think. We probably should just be going Sexton. Okay, they do have a lot of casting. That is what we're looking for with our dam. They have a lot of casting, and they have a lot of small and medium items. So that's good for our dam-based stuff. But again, see, in the situation where we're doing a lot of eel triggers to charge the dam, we just literally killed them before the dam went off again. I guess it's good that we're winning fights, but I wish this was working better. What's the upgrade on dam, dude? Does it make it faster by any chance? Can we make it faster? Because that's really our only path. We only have one aquatic item firing. Okay, if we had a second eels, does that get us anywhere? We could sell dam for a rebate here. Let's just get some money. And let's just take a haste item. We don't have any money, so let's not do anything wacky. I think we can beat a Bouncertron. The only problem with Bouncertron is that we don't have too much health, because it's still pretty early. And the cybersecurity sometimes crits. I forget why. Oh, because the shop and steal. And this hits you for 1,000. So if if we're low at all, we can just get donked off. That looks like that's not what's happening. But yeah, sometimes you can just get, take the 1,000 damage and just die straight up. So that ends up being not good for the whole living plan. Okay, we get a little weapon that is good for selling. We'll take some loot. We could get some cooldown reduction or an ammo item, I guess. There's, a lot of ways to do it. 900 shield is a lot. Yeah, let's take 900 shield because we're only looking for silencer, which we really do want. Oh, and Pearl's dig site gives us a great opportunity to find another ill-advised pivot. Rainbow potion. Yeah, those aren't exciting. I'm looking for something that excites me whenever I go here. 10 gold, 8 gold. Okay, those are maybe something we should consider. Do I just take 8 gold? Yeah, let's just take 8 gold. I'm trying not to be like a complete dope here. I would have loved to some enchanted anything, like any enchanted lodge item would have been interesting. And we didn't need to sell the depth charge, but I was getting too distracted. Level 9 to level 9, they have 5 wins though, so maybe they got it a little more together than a dam. But we still have the dam in. I could just take the dam out at any point. It looks like there's some kind of fast attacking build. Oh, they're a depth charge build? Okay, and they have a coral. But, so actually, these are the type of builds maybe that we can't actually kill because they have regen, but the dam could destroy their whole board and thus is good somehow. Although the problem is we're like heavily poisoned now and burnt. So, but we do just have enough, enough of a health lead to win. Okay, so I can't prove it like legally, but Dam might have helped there. It's possible had we had Sexton in, we would have just killed them with crits before that. However, I don't know. It's as if these things get frozen, they just like remain frozen for some reason. I mean, it's not actually frozen, I don't think. Swashbuckle, does that... That is probably better than what we're currently doing. Because it gives a lot of damage. Yeah, I think we'll grab that. In case we decide to move off the Dam plan. Oh, Start Shot. Another item I love, but can't... No, it can't fit. Okay, so we have... This is another time where we don't actually need 10 items to go next to our eel. We really only need 1. So we'll look for gold. Maybe there's gold tier something here. We don't have much money, but we did just buy a bunch of things we can resell. Tripwire. I always think eels like triggers off of slowing, but it actually doesn't. It triggers when they use stuff. So I think we're just rolling here. So I think Dam... I mean, the problem with Dam and Pufferfish is it kills the Pufferfish. Okay, we kill everything they have, but they don't cast very much, is the problem. Are we stuck going with Reef? I think we need to fight the Reef. The problem is the Pharaoh's Con one-shots us after like 11 seconds, I think. And I think we will just die before that happens. So I think we can probably take this person. It does give us an opportunity to switch back to... Okay, so if we were to... This is also a property. This would only have... The problem is this would... So I was saying we could replace the eels with the flagship. I guess they keep their flagship. And so that's not... Oh, okay. The burn eventually got there, which is good. I guess it reduces the number of casts. The problem is with the damn flagship... maybe we'd have to get rid of the crow's nest, but we just wouldn't have enough... what do you call it? We have a weapon and a tool, so we get 10% reduced cooldown. I guess maybe you're just putting damage on... do we have any... We don't have any other weapons, right? No, so we're pretty just committed to the eels, which is fine, I think. So I think damage on eels means that the Dam plan is less interesting because we're just trying to win fights at that point. So I think we're better off with something like this, really buffing the damage, getting to 85% crit. I don't think you need haste as much because once this is upgraded, it should trigger every second. Could also go here with CDR, but you lose a ton of damage, right? Because the Swashbuckle is giving like 160 damage. Because it's 170, right? 80 times 2. So, I'll try that. Oh, it's also giving some over here. And look for non-weapons, right? We can buff either of these two things. So, the Dam, let's say it won us that one fight. You know, I think that's a good legacy for our Dam this game. We could get a buff on the eels, but I think we're better off just looking for upgrades. And perfect. Wow, what an amazing find. Dam, you know, lost but not forgotten. Do we want to sell Sexton? Yeah, I think we will sell Sexton and pick up the upgrade. And I think that puts us in a pretty good, you know, much better situation. This is just so good with the upgrade. Just an extra second of the charge. There's a lot of, like, you know, Dualitron, what do you call them, bug builds, which are frustrating to play against. They do cast a lot. There's a combat core. They got a couple cores here. Do they get some stuff that's casting? What is this? Freezing small items. We don't need small items. Slowing items. Slowing an item is not as effective because we are because we get so much charge that like the actual tick rate of, you know, the weapon advancing over time isn't as important because we're just, you know, going based off charge here. And also we took them down easily. I'm not familiar with that, but I'm not really familiar with a lot of dually builds just because I don't have them yet. Still looking for silencer. We would also replace this with anything, and we find the silencer. Oh, I feel like I've gotten very lucky with silencer finds recently. I really have, you know, gotten more than I deserve there, I think. And what are we looking for? We can't fit a vehicle in. We do have a tool. So we are getting 10%. I sort of wish these had tooltips. I think I say this a lot, but I wish, like, I mean, they do have tooltips, but I wish it said, like, this is what you're currently getting, or, like, highlighted the one you have, unless it's doing that now, and I'm just not understanding. Um, I don't think we want to exchange any of this stuff, so I think we'll just take, what is this, like a random item? That's 8 gold. We just took 8 gold, which is fine, because we have 0 gold. I don't know that we can beat the Enforcer. Trash Titan does charge off of... You can get the Juggler, which charges a large item, and we do have a large weapon, finally. Usually you have like a medium weapon, so this doesn't help, but let's just go Boss Harrow. Slowing their items is... So the Assault Focus is usually like the prize you're looking for. It's not amazing here. Slowing their items, I think, is really good. It's enough good that the anti-synergy with the Eels is fine. Strength is obviously good, as is Keen Eye. Keen Eye gives us 100, almost 100%. Getting a bayonet is just sort of whatever. Sometimes you just don't get the good ones. Slow skills, haste skills, and Vanessa skills. I should look more into like what these all offer, because this is like a major weakness in my plays. I just don't know what these do. I just sort of go on vibes. We do slow a lot, so you can imagine if we're slowing a lot, something that triggers off slow. Vanessa, this is diamond, which I think the border is, which tricks me into going this a lot. There are some good aquatic things we could go. I think we'll go off the slow, see if we can get like ramping damage or anything. When you slow charge a poison item, when you use a large item, slow 3 things. I guess we just take the slow 3 things. We can slow entire boards the first time we trigger. That's not super exciting, but it is a thing we can do. I don't know if there's a lot of small tools we want. I don't know if there's a lot of ammo items we want either. So I think maybe we just go get the 50 extra damage. Medium items, obviously Swashbuckle is a big increase. I think, do we have any money for the skill is the problem? Yeah, we have 10. Otherwise, we can just take Sharpening Stone. I think it's probably plus whatever damage. I think skill is more likely to be like a game-breaking thing. And this is plus 20 damage. Or plus 50 damage. Yeah, I think we'll try to get there. We can sell Start Shot. Is that even like worth it? It's like a 10% damage up. Let's just take the cooldown reduction. I'm not excited about that. I think getting the plus 25 damage, which gets doubled, is good, obviously. But it's like... it's one of those like linear progression things. It's not like changing the nature of our build. And I think, maybe we get outraced by damage, obviously. But what we're more worried about is just getting, beat like on a fundamental level. So we want to sort of change the capabilities of our build, not just sort of marginally increase the, the amount of damage we're doing. I think. Because that's good in a race scenario, right? If you especially early game, marginally increasing the damage is amazing. I think instead of looking for the non-items, which of course we have, but we're short on gold. We've been very gold poor this game. I guess selling the Ambergeese gets us somewhere. What we'll do is we'll take the 6% cooldown for our Eels, which I think gets us, starts getting us somewhere, and we'll remove the silencer to activate it. Let's move our stuff around. And this goes from 5.7 to 5.4. And then throw this back in. Maybe we just need to sub out the Ambergeese because that's 20 gold. Sells items, I guess, or get a tool. Let's just take a tool. This is actually a decent amount of damage. So that's not bad. We can sell this and get plus 6. That gets doubled. So this one, I think we can beat this. The obviously risk is the Eye of the Colossus going off and just crushing us. Looks like that is what happened, and then we just die here. Okay, so the Eye of the Colossus going off, and then we went a 1 in 5 to lose. So we got 20%. So that's not great, obviously. We will hit level 12 before the end of the day, and we'll hit 13 before the next day. So this shouldn't punish us the next 2 days, but that was a tough loss to take. Just because we had such a good chance. And this is when you burn haste an item. Every time we shoot, we do get a burn trigger. And these things all sell pretty well. So I think this was a fight worth taking. I have been losing a lot of PvE fights being a little bit too ambitious. So maybe that was a mistake. In which case, my bad, obviously. Looking for the swashbuckle upgrade. That's pretty much all we're looking for. We need a, we can sub this out, but we need a small item to go in its place. Get some more loot items, hopefully to buff this up. Yep, get another 15 damage. Again, these are the marginal upgrades, so you're going to get some marginal upgrades anyways. Oh, I don't know why I saw that right before I went into Barcoon, obviously. We get another run back with the dam. I think we're going to pass on it this time. Dam had its chance. None of this stuff is really what we're looking for. I probably could have checked. Yeah, I could have sold 3 things and got 3 extra gold. Could have even sold 4 things. Yeah, I'm not playing super crisp today. I apologize. And we're going against this Vanessa. I kind of like this thing. I don't love that it keeps like inverting the direction she's facing. I know this doesn't matter at all, but it just like always like weirds me out. Wow, we're critting for 1,000 damage. So we have like 4,000 health, right? This is doing 500 damage times 2. So it's basically if they use 4 items, it just kills them, which is incredibly strong, right? We just have to hope that they have to hope they can beat us in forecast. Okay, some non-weapons. We have some non-weapons. Unfortunately, these aren't the ones we're looking for. Nor are these. Hasting. This only hastes small items, so if we were to sub out our ambergris for that, it wouldn't do anything. We do want to look for a replacement for ambergris. Maybe in the slow and whatever category. Nope, this is all a lot of pufferfish stuff. I don't think we're going to afford this thing. This is a weapon, so not on our radar. This would be cool, right? Whenever you slow, you gain damage. Whenever this goes off, it slows. Let's fight the veteran octopus. It just gives a ton of XP. These are not likely to be useful for us. It's possible to, if we wanted to sub out swashbuckle eventually, and put an active item next to this, which we're unlikely to do because rowboat's the main active item and isn't going to benefit the octopus very much. That's just not how that interaction would work. But ultimately, we're just looking for the XP. Upgrade. Okay. So, silencer is maxed, I believe. I can't tell. Yes, I think this is max. I think 30% cooldown, because I think it goes 10, 15, 20, 25. No. Does it start at 15? Does it just get 10 in the last level? I don't know. I'm way too dumb for this. Does it start at 15? Does it go 15, 20, 25, 30? Because there's only 4 levels, right? Bronze, silver, gold. Doesn't matter. We're a bit past that. We could upgrade this. I think it just gives an extra 25% crit, which means it's better than upgrading the crow's nest. Or we could just take a skill. I think we're so close to our max upgrades, we just take a skill because we're likely to be able to get these later. Taking 15% crit as a skill, I guess, isn't super interesting. However, it allows us to potentially get these upgrades in the future, and it does, raise our cap a little bit. But ultimately, that was probably just a mistake. 8 gold. We could take 8 gold. We could obviously take the buff, but I think taking gold here enables us to get better buffs, so maybe we just dig for something a little bit higher gold. This is also 8 gold. This is a shielded submersible. This is 16 gold. So we're probably not going to switch, right? But it's interesting. Look at how much shield this would have. This would have 500 shield on a 3-second cooldown. It only does 100 damage is the issue. It actually does more, right? Well, actually 700 shield. 650. That's interesting. I think this might be worth keeping around, and just if we were to look at a matchup that maybe doesn't look like it's going to work out for us. Look for medium items here. See if we can get a swashbuckle upgrade. So I don't think we ever want to sub this out because it's giving so much damage is the issue. And it works well with the submersible. There's no way to bring this in because we'd have to lose the crow's nest. And the crow's nest, so swashbuckle converts all your crit into damage, so losing the crits ends up being losing damage. So I think we're gonna just roll into this fight. I don't think shielding is particularly good against. Who is this? Mac. Oh, they have a magic carpet with a pendulum, which means we can just lose. Because the goal is to one-shot you with this thing. This runic shield blade. It looks like they didn't get to. So basically, you get some crit chance, and with pendulum, Oh, do they take the crit chance off of Pendulum? It used to give 10 and then 20% crit chance. I didn't realize that. I mean, that item did need a nerf. But they do have some other crit chance. So the idea is when you crit, this doubles its damage. Powers of 2. It doesn't take too many doublings to make this just one-shot everybody. And, with the magic carpet, once this cooldown gets reduced, the idea is that, and with letter opener, which also crits, which helps buff this even further. Having this shielded is probably not super useful because you're going to one-shot people with it so much, but I mean, they have a ton of enchantments. They have some nice stuff. I guess we have 2 enchantments, so that's fine. But they just didn't quite get there. But this is a cool combo. Pendulum, you can basically always do something interesting with. And again, Max seems to have some cool stuff. Tools, is this the tool? No, this is apparel. Okay, if you say so. We'll get one of these medium items. There's a lot of medium items we could get. We actually mostly need a small item, right? To fit in here. So maybe we look for that next. I think, do we beat Awakened District? So the problem we have here is that they don't actually trigger very much. And that means, so we will, yeah, I think we can because we're zapping them for 1,000 damage every time their shield things go off. And they don't shield for that much, so we actually net shield. So we'll hit them for 1,000. And then when their stuff goes off, we'll hit them for another 1,000. And we just need to get their health down so we don't get one shot by this thing. But yeah, it looks like because we have the obsidian, we just do so much damage that, normally, they don't have a lot of casting, right? So Eels isn't super effective. But the Eels is on just a 3.6 second cooldown. So it's on a pretty fast cooldown as is. So it's not really like, it's not super slow anymore at this point in the game. And I think we'll go Diamond. I think that's, like I said earlier, slow is pretty good. Your leftmost weapon has a lifesteal. So the thing is, this is giving a ton of damage. Right? Because it's giving 120 damage. But having lifesteal on this means that we could go like Star Shot or I don't know, something else big, maybe Dam. Will we do that? This could be our last day. I don't know if we have that much room for mess around. First time you use your rightmost item, charge 1 slow item. Is this my rightmost item? Yes. Right, this doesn't count. So let's just do this. This will just increase this trigger rate. The idea is basically, and I think we'll just sell some stuff. Do we just take the chocolates? Do we hope for, I guess the upgrade is probably better than the chocolates here. If we were earlier in the game and we had more flexibility, I think we'd maybe, decide to mess around more and say okay, maybe we can improve our build later on. But, taking a diamond skill that doesn't improve our game at all right now, I think is maybe a waste. Okay, we can get more gold off this. And eventually we will find a small item that does something. Nope, not this round. I guess we go to some hero merchants. Maybe one of these will have this is all the tools, I think. We actually don't have a tool in, right? So, yeah, let's go for tools because we can reduce our cooldown by 5% by getting a tool. And it will also slow stuff. Yeah, right, that just takes our cooldown from 3.8 to 3.6. Now, basically, the healing was just never going up. We have so much. This heals for 1,000 a shot. This is actually at exactly 100% crit now, which is nice because, there's no chance of that, miss and you lose. So we're at level 16 to 14. Well, we're 14 to 16, I mean. So that could be trouble for us. I wonder why. I guess we've lost a lot of fights. They have some fast stuff, which is good for us. They also have some big stuff. Okay, so it looks like they're going to try to attack a bunch very rapidly, which is good for our build as long as they don't have any built-in disruption. So it looks like we're just going to machine gun them down here. Yeah, so, I've been really liking Eels. I was a little bit disappointed early on because Silver Eels is kind of a trap. It just doesn't charge fast enough. Gold starts to get you there, and then Diamond is just wild because it's basically every time they do something, you retaliate. So any type of weapon build, any of their things going off ends up being good for us because they hit us for, even if they hit us for, they crit every time and hit us for 460, even if their life stealed up, and they do start to like gain stuff. They do have scaling over here. I mean, everyone has their own build, right? And when they crit, they gain 15. So they have their own build. Eventually, they'll crit every time, and eventually this with 1 second. But it doesn't matter if these get down to 1 second cooldowns, because we're hitting back for 1,000 damage, fully life stealed, right? And we gain, damage when we crit. We get some burn, which is marginal, but is legally a thing. We did get lucky. We didn't run into a lot of freeze stuff because we just don't have that many active items. And Swashbuckle, is something I've come up on. It doesn't, if you play a lot with Laying, a lot of my, views, I think, early on have been distorted around Laying. That's Laying's Zian, maybe. And that just scales well with almost nothing. It's all built-in scaling. It has no multipliers. The Eels, obviously, we gave the double damage multiplier. Also, it just has very fast attack speed, which is sort of a multiplier in and of itself. And then, we got the little tool in just for funsies, reduce the cooldown. Full Arsenal is very interesting. 10% reduced cooldown is a perfectly reasonable skill. And also, can we check? I guess we can't check the bank, right? But we did have the upgraded submersible, which would have been a 15% reduction. I wish they would let you check your bank at the end. So we get a 10 wins. I actually don't think our ranking improved at all. I think we were 150 yesterday, last time I played, and then we dropped quite a bit. It's probably, I think I hit whatever rank this is early, and it's possible, just a bunch of other people have been playing more recently and catching up. And I haven't been playing as much because, just got distracted. But yeah, this was great. I've really been liking Eels. When Eels works, it's a lot of fun. It's large. There's sort of like this, I think, aesthetic, bias I sometimes have is like, it seems like large items should be slower, and it as often is, right? A lot of the big items are very slow, like the Primordial, the Boulder, the Dam, and there's different ways to make those faster. But this is actually a pretty quick weapon. We don't even have a start shot in. It's already a 3.6. And, obviously a lot of that's the silencer and also partially the arsenal. But, you can also, this is also aquatic, so it benefits off of, there's like the 10% and then 20% aquatic cooldown. So this can really, go off. And we saw it did. It has some weaknesses. We ran into some good matchups. I think it's good against the bugs for the most part, as long as you don't get permafrozen, which I think is just, risk you have to take against pretty much everything's bad against permafrozen. I mean, getting Radiant on this instead of Obsidian is probably worth it there because, you don't probably need all the damage. It's nice to have all the damage, though. Hitting for 1,000 every time. We only had 4,800 health, so this is basically killing, this would kill us in 5 shots, which go off very quickly. So, yeah, I don't know. Great thing. I know single weapon isn't like super innovative. I mean, we're not trying to innovate, right? We're trying to win most of the time. But it is nice to have like a little spin on it sometimes. And, we had the choice of, I think, Sniper, Cutlass, Flagship, and Eels all at the same time. And I sort of decided to go down the Eels path. And I think it paid off. It's possible, we would have done just as well with, the upgraded Flagship or whatever. But I'm happy that we were able to pull this one off. So thanks for watching, everybody.